Good evening, everyone. Let us discuss the questions and the concept regarding the excretion chapter from the NCRT. Let us we will see one by one questions from this. Which one of the following is not a part of renal pyramid? Peritubular capillaries, conflated tubules, collecting ducts, loop of Henle. Which of the following is not a part of renal pyramid? In this one, answer is peritubular capillaries. Because what do you mean by peritubular capillaries? The network or the fine one small efferent capillaries, efferent arteriole merging from the glomerulus, it forms a fine capillary around the renal tubule. It forms a fine capillary. It is called as peritubular capillaries. Convoluted tubules means PCT and DCT. And collecting duct, it is a straight duct and loop of Henle. It is a U-shaped loop of Henle. Then come to another one more question. The basic functional unit of the human kidney is nephridia, Henle's loop, nephron, pyramid. Nephron is the right answer for this. Okay. In this one, yeah. Next, inner to hilum, there is a broad funnel shaped space called as inner to hilum. What is that broad shape? It is called as medulla, calyx, renal pelvis, cortex. As we know, the kidneys consist of outer cortex and inner medulla. And renal pelvis, it is a broad shape. So answer is renal pelvis. And then what do you mean by this calyx? The projection from this renal pelvis, it is called as calcis. The renal pelvis with projections, it called as. What is the answer? I already mentioned here. What is that? Calcis. Outer cortex, inner medulla. It is the structures of the kidney. And nephron, it is the functional unit of the kidney. So answer is calyx. Now let us discuss the concept regarding this. Human excretory system, it consists of a pair of kidneys. It consists of a pair of kidneys and a pair of ureters. Okay, pair of ureters and urinary bladder. And this is called as urethra. And this kidney is reddish brown, bean shaped. Where it is situated? It is situated in the last thoracic and third lumbar vertebrae. It is close to dorsal inner wall of abdominal cavity. Then we will see the measurement of this kidney. The length of this kidney is 10 to 12 centimeters and width is 5 to 7 centimeters and thickness is 2 to 3 centimeters. What is the average weight of this? 120 to 170 grams. Now towards the center of this is concave, outer concave, inner convex. Okay, so towards the center of inner concave surface of kidney, there is a notch. This is called as notch. It is called as hilum. Where all the nerves, blood vessels are entered, it is called as hilum. The hilum, inner to hilum, there is a broad funnel shaped structure. It is called as renal pelvis. It is called as renal pelvis. Okay, this is called as renal pelvis and this is called as hilum, where the blood vessels and nerves will enter, and through this blood vessels and nerves and opens into the renal pelvis, and in renal pelvis with small projection, it is called as small projection. This is called as projections, is called as calyces. And there has the two different types of layers. One is cortex, outer cortex and inner medulla. Outer cortex and inner medulla, and it is covered by one tough capsule. Okay, now this cortex extends in between medullary pyramids. As renal columns are called as columns of Bertini. Okay, this is called as renal pyramids. Extends in between, this outer cortex extends in between medullary pyramids as renal. This is called as renal columns, called as columns of Bertini. And inner medulla, it is divided into many conical shaped structure. It is called as calyces. Okay, this is the diagram related to that. Then let us discuss another one more question regarding this. The functional structure of kidney is called as Boltzmann capsule, nephron, PCT or DCT. Nephron is the correct answer. And each nephron consists of two main parts. One is glomerular path and another one more renal tubule. Glomerulus, it consists of a tuft of capillaries. It is formed by efferent arteriole and also a fine branch of renal artery. It is carried out by efferent arteriole. It is formed by efferent arteriole and carried out by efferent arteriole. Okay. Now the Boltzmann capsule and this glomerulus, it consists of endothelium of the glomerulus consists of this endothelium, and between this Boltzmann capsule has epithelium. Between this epithelium and endothelium of this glomerulus, there is another one more layer is called as basement membrane. Okay, basement, this is called as basement membrane. Endothelium of endothelium of glomerulus, epithelium of Boltzmann capsule. Between these two layers, another one more layer is called as basement membrane. The epithelium of Boltzmann capsule, it consists of a podocytes, small pore-like structure. These podocytes are arranged in an intricate manner so as to leave filtration slits or filtration slit pores. Okay, so that filtration of the blood takes place. Now let us discuss the renal tubule. Renal tubule is a double-walled cup-like structure which is called as Boltzmann capsule. It encloses glomerulus. It is cup-like structure. Okay, glomerulus along with Boltzmann capsule, it is called as Malpighian tubule or renal corpuscles. It continues further highly coiled network. It is called as PCT. It continues as PCT, and this PCT continues as one U-shaped structure. This is called as Henle's loop, U-shaped structure or hairpin shaped structure. It is called as descending loop of Henle. It is called as ascending loop of Henle. Descending loop of Henle, it is permeable to water, but it is impermeable to electrolytes. But ascending loop of Henle, it is permeable to electrolytes but impermeable to water. It continues as DCT, and DCT continues as collecting duct. It is a straight tube. Okay. Now efferent arteriole. This efferent arteriole merging from this arteriole form a fine capillary network around this renal tubule. This is called as renal tubule, and this is called as Malpighian body. This part is called as renal tubule. It is merging around the renal tubule, hence it is called as peritubular capillaries. A minute vessel of this network, it runs a small minute vessel of this network. It runs parallel to Henle's loop and forming a U-shaped structure. It is called as vasa recta. Okay, vasa recta. This is cortex, outer cortex, and this is inner medulla. So vasa recta, it is only present in cortical nephrons. It is absent in the nephrons, cortical nephrons, or highly reduced in cortical nephrons, but it is, this is outer cortex, this is the part outer cortex and inner medulla. Outer cortex, inner medulla. This vasa recta, it is absent in the cortical region. This is the cortical region, so it is absent in the cortical region. It is present in the medullary region, so it is extends in the medullary region. Malpighian corpuscles PCT and DCT, it is present in the cortical region, whereas loop of Henle, it is present in the medulla. Loop of Henle, it is short and extends into the medulla. It is called as cortical nephron. In some nephrons, loop of Henle is very long and runs deep into the medulla. It is called as juxtamedullary nephrons. Okay, this is a very important question in the NEET. So, now let us discuss the urine formation. The urine formation consists of three main procedures. One is glomerular filtration, reabsorption, and also the secretion. What do you mean by glomerular filtration? Glomerular filtration, the volume of the filtrate formed by the kidney per minute is called as glomerular filtration. In glomerular filtration, the first step is the urine formation by the glomerulus. On an average 1100 to 1200 ml of the blood can be filtered by the kidneys per minute, so that we can say 1/5 of the blood can be pumped by each ventricle in a minute. So approximately the glomerular filtration rate is approximately in an healthy person 125 ml per minute and 180 liters per day. The volume of the filtrate formed is called as 180 liters per day. Now, what do you mean by ultrafiltration? I already mentioned that the blood can be filtered by the three different type of layers of these renal tubules. Renal corpuscles, the layers of renal corpuscles. The blood, including plasma, constituents, everything can be filtered by the glomerulus except proteins. Why? Why except proteins? Because of its large size, it can't filter through the glomerulus capillaries, and it passes directly through the lumen of Boltzmann capsule. So it is called as ultrafiltration. Let us discuss the reabsorption. Reabsorption can be takes place by juxtaglomerular apparatus. Then what do you mean by juxtaglomerular apparatus? Juxtaglomerular apparatus is a cellular modification of the DCT. It comes in contact with that of the efferent arteriole. So this is the efferent arteriole. This efferent arteriole comes in contact with this DCT. It is called as juxtaglomerular apparatus. So when there is decreases in the GFR rate, so it will activate juxtaglomerular apparatus. It releases renin, RENIN. This is very important for the NEET exam. It stimulates the glomerular blood flow and it leads to normal glomerular filtration rate. Then what do you mean by what is the definition of the reabsorption? The comparison of the volume of the filtrate formed with how much the volume of filtrate formed? 180 liters per day. With that, urine released 1.5 liters, so that 99% of the filtrate reabsorbed by renal tubules. It is called as reabsorption. So what are the things are going to reabsorb actively and passively? Glucose, amino acids and sodium. It will reabsorb actively, whereas nitrogenous waste and water are also reabsorbed passively. Secretion, H plus, K plus, NH4 plus, they are secreted into the filtrate. Why it is very important for the kidneys? Because to maintain the ionic and acid base balance of the body fluids. So because of this secretion, it is very important for the maintenance of ionic and acid base balance of body fluids. Let us discuss one by one questions regarding to this concept. Blood is filtered so finely through the membrane, except which of the following is not filtered? by the membrane. What is that? Plasma, blood, proteins, glucose. Which of the following? Proteins is the answer. Then cellular modification of DCT comes in contact with efferent arteriole. It is called as PCT, glomerular filtration rate, ultrafiltration, juxtaglomerular apparatus. Which of this option is correct? Juxtaglomerular apparatus is the correct answer. Then fall in GFR means glomerular filtration rate activate juxtaglomerular apparatus. It will reduces renin, urine, glucose. Which of the following option is correct? Renin is the correct answer. Don't put by mistake because here double N and here only single N. Okay, this is for reabsorption. Now, which of the following actively reabsorb? Glucose, water, amino acids, urea. I already mentioned which of the following is actively reabsorbed. Only you just remember nitrogenous waste and water. They are absorbed through passive process. Remaining all nutrients are reabsorbed actively. So what is that? We will see. Glucose, amino acid, sodium and water. Wrong answer. Here amino acids and urea is nitrogenous waste, so it is wrong answer. Another one more, water, it is passively, so it is wrong answer. Now correct option is the glucose, amino acid and sodium. That tubular secretion is important step in the urine formation because tubular secretion is important. Why? To maintain ionic and acid base balance of body fluids. So these two options are correct, so both A and B are correct. Now let us discuss the functions of PCT, DCT, loop of Henle. Okay, now PCT and collecting duct. The functions of PCT and collecting duct, it is to maintain the pH and also ionic balance of the blood. Then DCT, maintenance of pH and Na plus and K plus balance, means sodium potassium pump balance. Henle's loop, maintenance of high osmolarity of the medullary fluid. Okay, we will see this concept by another one more diagram, that is, so here this is PCT. The PCT, it reabsorbs bicarbonates, sodium chlorides, all the nutrients, water and also potassium, but it secretes H plus and NH3. Now come to another one more part, descending limb of loop of Henle. Okay, loop of Henle, it is permeable to water, it is impermeable to electrolytes. Now ascending loop of Henle. Ascending loop, it is permeable to sodium, means electrolytes, it is permeable to electrolytes, it is impermeable to water. Now DCT, it reabsorbs sodium chloride, water and bicarbonates, but it secretes K plus and H plus, and this is collecting duct. It will be extends from the cortex to medulla and it reabsorbs water. It reabsorbs more water, and why it reabsorbs more water? To maintenance of the pH and ionic balance. Okay, see, this is the clear cut diagram in the NCERT. This is the cortex and this is in the middle part. So PCT, DCT and collecting half duct is present in the cortex part, but in medulla loop of Henle is present. Okay, now let us discuss the questions regarding this. The descending limb of loop of Henle is permeable to. Which of the following is correct answer? Water, electrolytes, water, glucose and sodium. Which is permeable? Descending, like this. Descending, it is permeable to water. Okay, correct answer is the water. Now ascending limb of loop of Henle is impermeable to water and electrolytes, water and glucose, sodium. Which of the following option is correct? Same, exactly, it is reverse to descending limb of loop of Henle. So it is impermeable to water. Okay, what is the functions of DCT? It is to maintain water and electrolyte balance, maintain the pH and sodium potassium balance, maintain osmolarity, maintain body fluid. The main role of this DCT to maintain pH and sodium and potassium balance. Okay, this is the most important question regarding to this topic, and we will see under one more part in next video. Thank you.